Hi everyone, my name is Bo Derricks and thank you for joining me. Um, Yesterday I had some massive downloads on some points that really hit me really deep down in my core, and I feel it's really worthwhile talking about because it's really the essence and um, the truth really underneath it all. How will I start elaborating this? Um, there are more and more people who are starting to wake up in this world, and there is a really big urgency in it because the amount of trauma that we humans are walking around with is massive. It's truly massive. I really had to cry yesterday so deeply. It's been a while since I deeply cried for for my human companions, and yesterday it it overwhelmed me so deeply. Um, there is because a lot of people and more of people are waking up. There is also a huge need for people that can hold presence for them who are still in search of their own presence, that are just in the beginning of more and more letting go of their personalities and making their way down slowly to their very core. But here comes the very painful part of it all. Human species are drowning literally in their own shit, and really, it's really rare that we have people around us that can be that spacious presence to um, hold the suffering for the other person. Can you relate what I'm getting at? It's um, we have all these kinds of um, occupations um, when we are struggling mentally. It's like, how sick is this? When we're struggling mentally, emotionally, we make an appointment with a psychologist, and this psychologist has done a study, 4, 5, 6 year study, um, about some theories about what you've been taught there, like um, but it's all knowledge really, and those very people that have studied for these kinds of professions um, also walk around often with even more severe trauma. you know, they I'm not saying there are no psychologists or other kind of professions in this area who haven't woke up, but a huge number of them has been extracting knowledge from the outside world and soaking it in without the transformation and the crystallization process of their own soul. So these very people who are starting to break open, and it's severe, it's just there is so much pain going on. And those very people who become more conscious of it, they really don't have anyone to go to. And when they go to people like that, like psychologists or other kind of um, helping institutions, they end up getting thrown mental, learned, absorbed knowledge back at them. And of course, there are who have a genuine um, heart for them, and um, but the thing is, isn't it that the cripple is helping the blind in this case? Um, and that's the harshness of it all. Um, there is so little presence in this world, and we are in such need of presence. We crave presence, um, especially the deeper you become present and the deeper you start um, spiraling down inside of your own body, um, withdrawing from your personality more into your essence, you start seeing that really the most part of our healing has really to do with self help. We really need to um, um, journey this path a lot by ourselves. And so the more we start distancing ourselves from society, um, at a point the more we will start seeing how deprived we are from being able to look at another person's suffering uh, with a spaciousness and with um, how do you say that? Um, with a deep seated love in, I see where you are. I see that you are suffering, and I acknowledge you, and I'm listening to you, and not listening from only this head space and those ears, but really, really letting it all come in from a frequency that um, isn't there to tell a person what to do, isn't there to um, put information back to the other person about what we have learned about the things that we have learned in our study or in our profession. Um, really presence is the only state that can and will slowly transform a person into sanity again. And I experienced this path myself too, and this is why I feel such an urge to share this, because it's I'm sure so alive at the moment for a lot of people. We start feeling more and more trauma. We become more vulnerable. We become more receptive for what uh, human species have gathered, what we have gathered through the ages, if it comes to locked up hurt, pain, anger, fear, you name it. And most people choose to stay busy actively in the outside world, to check those boxes. Um, when we finish our study, we start working, we find a partner, we get married, we have children. And so the red wheel goes on and on and on, not realizing that we are so deprived from presence. We are so deprived from real emotions, real feelings. There is this huge um, inner anorexic. I would say, if it comes to um, being in touch with what is. And when I'm talking about what is, I'm not talking about what is in the outside world, that you see, for instance, a bird flying by, or that you see the sun coming up, or that you see people passing by. That is a part of reality that we are all acquainted with. But I'm talking about the what is, that is inside of our soul, that is inside of our bodies, the what is that is stored inside of us. So there is a choice. I think not a lot of people can make consciously, because they're simply not aware, or um, knowing that there is a choice to make. But for the people that are waking up, there is a choice to make, and the choice is, um, what world do I perceive as reality? Is that the world that we see through our eyes? We see our unfolding outside of us, people going to work, um, the sun rising, the sunset, um, the seasons, that it's getting dark, it's getting light again. Is that what we perceive as reality? Or is reality the world that is going on behind our eyes, behind this vehicle, behind inside of this body? And the one reality isn't in a way more good or bad than the other reality. But let's just face it, when it comes to being presence for the hurt and the suffering and the trauma that is so immensely, I think we know the answer. And then there is, I'm sorry to say, a right and wrong. And yet there is no pushing this, so, and yet we cannot speak about a right or wrong, because we see when we see, we acknowledge when we acknowledge. And at the end, it's all about that we do need to see that what plays out in society is a collective consciousness. And there is no moving forward when we all wake up. Yeah, there is a moving forward on an individual level. We can individually start waking up, do our inner work. Um, and that is the natural pace of how I see things play out there. I don't see a collective evolution in in humans as a whole. There are individual people who are stepping out of this insanity. I don't know how to call it anything different. There are more and more people who are stepping out of this insanity. But I don't know if the amount of people who are stepping out of it will be enough to create a evolution slash revolution in uh, the society as a whole. Time will tell, I guess. Yes. Thank you for listening, and I hope the people who see this playing out, the people who see the amount of trauma that we as a collective are walking around with, has come to a head. And um, it's either a bow or a break, and it will become more and more accurate within the future. And it's not a really long term thing. I really feel it becoming more and more accurate in a short term, in a short term future. And seeing this playing out is it's hurtful. It's hurting me a lot. And I'm sure people who are also on the path of breaking out of conditioning, breaking out of the sleeping state that we were in, start feeling the hurt, the amount of suffering that we brought upon ourselves. And for me, the only thing I can do is keep doing my inner work, keep doing, um, casting my light on the shadows, doing my shadow work. Um, and therefore, I can be there when there are people who come into my life who don't have the capacity yet to shine their light on their shadows yet, because we are in huge need of this. And yeah, I will keep it to that. Have a nice day and love you all.